I'm some generic reviewer. I have some generic opinions, and here I'm going to share some of those opinions. Rather than reviewing a food item like I'm supposed to, I'm going to talk about things I like. First off, I like Star Trek. I've sort of known about the show for a long time. I remember watching TNG a bit. I think the show I watched the most was actually Voyager. Funny that. Um, because it was just on at a convenient time that I knew when it was on a channel I knew what channel it was on, so I just sat down and watched it. I didn't really think much of it, I just liked it, so yeah. In terms of movies, I probably watched the second one when I was young at some point, but I don't remember. I probably watched the fourth one at some point, but I don't remember that either. I think I might have vague memories, but whatever. The one that the first one I really definitely remember seeing um, in theaters was the 2009 movie, which I like. I actually really like the reboot series. Both 2009, or I just call it The Future Begins, because every single other one has a subtitle. That one should too. So, Future Begins and Into Darkness, I both really like. I mean, I understand there are things that fans find to complain about, but I'm generally a pretty mellow guy, and well, I like those movies for what they are. I went back and watched a bit of the original series, a bit of TNG, of course, and really quick. Uh, TOS, I can see the appeal. I kind of have a bit of a soft spot for 60s shows since I actually rather enjoy a 60s Adam West Batman show, so there's that. There's um, TNG. I watched a bit of that relatively recently. I find TNG a really good show. Voyager, I said I enjoyed it as a kid. I haven't really gone back to. Enterprise, I remember watching a bit of it. It's the only DVD that we actually have of the Star Trek series for some reason. I don't really get that, but whatever. It's a alright show. I don't really remember much about whether I enjoyed it or not. Now the movies. The movies are the meat of it for me because when it comes to Star Trek, what I love most are the movies. So, the first one. I like the effects of the first one. I find the story interesting, but it's too slow. It's really my only gripe with it, to be honest. It's just a bit slow. The first time I watched it was the director's cut, which I'm glad I watched that version because the original version would probably be a bit worse for me, which is a funny story. I actually recently began collecting these Star Trek movies since I like collecting stuff. I have all the novelizations of the movies 1 through 12. Um, with the movies, I'm collecting 1 through 6 on a VHS because I have a VHS player and I want to use it. So yeah, and then 7 through 12 and onwards will be DVD. I currently have 1 through 5. I was going to get 1 through 6 in a box set, but unfortunately that sold on Amazon before it gets to it. I got 1 through 5 instead. I also have a 7 and a 10. I'm planning on getting the others when I can. Um, so yeah. The version of the one I have, version of motion picture I have, is not only the original version, but the 12 minutes longer version, because apparently it wasn't long enough. Joy. Um, Star Trek 2. It's a classic. Everyone loves it. I love it. Moving on. Star Trek 3. I like just as much as 2. I find it as the perfect companion piece and basically as Star Trek 2 Part 2. Really cool little thing. Star Trek 4. I like it slightly less because I generally prefer my Star Trek a little, I guess, a bit more serious, but that's about it. Um, but I find the humor funny, and I think it's my mom's favorite. Um, No, I think I was actually watching the Star Trek movies along at one point, and I think the one she says she likes most is actually the seventh one, Generations, which we'll get to in a sec. So yeah, Star Trek 4, Save the Whales, I like it enough. Star Trek 5, I like this movie. It's bad, I can tell it's bad, but I have a fascination with this one, and I think my main reason is twofold. First, that everyone hates it. Whenever everyone hates something that's part of a franchise, like say, everyone hates Batman and Robin, although I cannot stand that movie either, so I can just kind of see the point there. But everyone hates Star Trek 5, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a fair shot. I watch it, and I actually like it, so yeah, I guess that's me. The other part of fascination is that it got a DOS game, which I played. It's confusing. I have no idea what to do, so meh. But it almost got an NES game too. I played the prototype, and I actually kind of like it. It's really short, but it's it's nice for what it is. For a movie license game, when I'm releasing one of that, it's not that bad. And I would have actually liked it if they maybe put in a few more levels and then release it. It probably would have been nice. I probably know more about the game than most other people would because they played it so much. Yeah. That's Star Trek 6. I like Star Trek 6. Not as much as 2 or 3. Probably about as much as 4. Um, Star Trek 7. I really like this one, mainly for the villain. For some reason, I really like this guy. He has a sort of intensity to him that I don't always get. There's a specific flavor intensity of someone is really determined to do this. Really determined to go back to the Nexus and such. Star Trek 8, I remember liking. Actually, not as much as 7 for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why that is. It's just maybe 7 isn't. I mean, I don't know what it is, but something about Star Trek 8 I don't like quite as much. I mean, I still like it, but not as much. Star Trek 9. I didn't really like it the first time I watched it. To be honest with my mom, and I liked it slightly more, but still, I guess my least favorite. Not because the movie pissed me off, but I just find it overall kind of uninteresting, I guess. Oh well. Star Trek 10. Uh, it's, well, I like it. I like the action. Except for the one, yeah. I go into that, but I don't really want to. So yeah. I already talked about the reboot ones. I like those a lot. Yeah. There's a Star Trek a game for the Atari I've been playing on emulator that I actually really like. It is probably my favorite Atari game. If I had an Atari, I'd definitely be playing that. I'd probably definitely get that first. Yeah. That's pretty much it with me in Star Trek. I mean, I really love Star Trek, but it's not quite as huge a thing in my life as some other things that I won't be doing to this time. Maybe next time. So, this is just some generic review with some generic opinion. See you next time.